Let me read this excerpt to you real quick. Theresa May's unprecedented decision to deploy up to 5,000 troops at key strategic sites, military armed troops, makes her the first prime minister to use a new plan for a show of force in the face of major terror threats. Now, on top of that, the Operation Temporer, the government plan to put thousands of soldiers on the streets in response to a major terrorist threat, was devised back in 2015. It was recently leaked to a newspaper. They say accidentally. I don't buy it. I think it was leaked for a reason. Now, David Cameron is fearful that implementing the new plan is going to provoke comparisons to the troubles in Northern Ireland, where British soldiers have patrolled the streets for decades. Yeah, I can see a comparison there. Irish have been treated like the redheaded stepchildren of the Brits dynasty for hundreds of years. It's very disturbing. He also worried that it might give the impression that the government has lost control and was imposing martial law. Kind of like the title that I just came out with yesterday. Is this martial law? Well, now, it's not just me thinking it, ladies and gentlemen. Even David Cameron is saying that he sees how people could look at this as a precursor to martial law and the government losing control. The United Kingdom terror threat right now level is at critical, and they feel that an imminent attack is going to happen. So what information do they have? Or are they planning the attack themselves to use as a precursor, as that cataclysm like 9/11 to go in to other nations for war? It's getting ready, folks. Be ready for it. Operation Temporer. Theresa May becomes first prime minister to deploy up to 5,000 military soldiers on the streets. Now, this comes just days after the largest terrorist attack on Britain's soil in over 10 years. There is a lot of speculation and circumstantial evidence and anomalies that points to this could have been a staged event. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't real by any means. There's just too many questions and not enough answers or dots connected yet. First of all, I've been reading through the comment section of the recent podcast that I did, and I said, on the title, I wrote, martial law, 5,000 troops being deployed, ? So what I find interesting is a lot of the comments that I'm reading from people that are in the UK, they're saying, Rex, where did you get this information? This is false. This isn't true. I said, we can take 5 seconds and you can type in a search engine. You'll see that this information that I am giving to you is actually from multiple mainstream news articles, and then I'm giving my take on it. So why are you guys so angry at Americans? I mean, that's another thing that I find very bizarre is, first of all, I don't care what country you were born in. I mean, why does that actually matter? And I don't care what color your skin is or what your political beliefs are or what your religious preferences are. I could care less. It's who you are as a person. And I've noticed that there's a lot of racist remarks, people claiming to be from Britain in the comment section saying, you know, you stupid Yanks, you stupid Americans. I don't understand. What makes us stupid for questioning the status quo? If you're the kind of person that believes everything you're told on the mainstream media, hey, good for you. Sounds to me like you're under extreme mind control, and they're doing a very good job keeping you docile as their slave. That's fantastic. If you want to be the slave to the mainstream media and believe everything they tell you, go for it. Do it. I think you should. I don't. You're not going to assimilate me. I choose freedom. I choose the right to think for myself, and many Americans do too. So maybe you have a problem with people thinking for themselves because you're so used to being under mind control. And I know people in the UK that are extremely awake, that are amazing and a lot smarter than myself. So I think that people out there that use the name calling card based upon what country they're from or what religion they are, I think that's, how do I put it? It's not barbaric, it's cavemanish. Where's the honor in that? That shows your intelligence level, in my opinion. Now, are there extremists in certain religions that are really nasty? Yeah, absolutely. There's extremists in virtually every religion that are nasty. There's extremists that aren't religious that are nasty too. So what's your point? There's extremes in every situation. Now, what I do see when the anger comes in is you've got countries like Britain and Germany and other westernized civilizations that bring in mass influx of refugees that are Muslims or from different countries. Well, yeah, there's going to be conflict there. Absolutely. They were raised completely different. It's the Communist Manifesto to put a whole bunch of different cultures in one setting place, because that creates division, that creates unrest, civil unrest, and it makes it a lot easier to create a solution once there's it's to come up with a solution once the problem's been created, meaning martial law, clampdowns, rounding people up. And you look at what happened back in Germany, you look at what happened back in Soviet Union and China during World War II. It was nasty. I mean, here even in the U.S., they had concentration camps where Italians and Japanese were put in internment camps. The only difference is the internment camps here in the U.S. weren't nearly as bad as some of those in Japan and Germany and the Soviet Union. I was reading an article about how after the war ended, the Italian prisoners here in the States actually got offered jobs at the facilities that they were locked up in during the war. So a little bit different than what you hear about overseas. But my point is, all of this prejudiceness, all this racism, all of this anti-person because they're from another nation, that needs to stop, in my opinion, if you want true balance and harmony with other people. I mean, there's always going to be those out there that cause problems. I get it. But on a major scale, I think we need to work together as a whole here and realize that it's most likely this whole scenario that took place in the UK has most likely been meticulously orchestrated and designed for years. And you can look at how just 4 days prior to this event happening, the Manchester Police Department came out and gave a public apology for the terrorist drill that they did 1 year prior that was only 9 miles away. Very similar circumstances where Muslim extremists took over is either a train station or a shopping center, and one of the crisis actors, as he was blowing himself up, yelled Allah Akbar. Well, that's what they had to apologize over. So after Manchester comes out with a public apology and then 4 days later there's a Muslim extremist terrorist attack, does that make sense to you? Do you think that Muslim extremists that would design and orchestrate that event would actually create it 4 days after they were given a public apology? Don't you think they're smart enough to realize that would be the opposite effect of what they wanted the public to see? When in reality, wouldn't it make more sense that if an event happened where 4 days prior there was an apology saying we're sorry to the people out there that were offended because of this exercise that we did? Well, 4 days later, the people they apologized to essentially, to an extent, were the ones that did part of it, right? Were the ones that did the event. Does that make sense? It's kind of like when you hear the story about how North Korea launches a bunch of ICBMs when China's meeting with Russia and a bunch of other multinational countries, and China's supposed to be on the side of North Korea. Yet they provoke China by launching an ICBM when they're not supposed to, when China's meeting with Russia and a bunch of other countries. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I question these things on my podcast. I don't say I've got the answer for sure. I say I question these things. And I get attacked for questioning the status quo. You should read the nasty, prejudiced, racist comments towards me from people in the UK because I'm questioning the status quo. Literally. First of all, my condolences for anybody that was injured or lost a loved one in that Manchester event. That's horrible. It's horrible. Let's find the real culprit. That's what I've been saying all along. I'm saying, let's find out who's really behind this. Why are you attacking me for wanting to know who took out people in the UK, blaming Middle East extremist groups? Why am I the bad guy for wanting to know the truth? Don't you want to know the truth? Somebody left a comment in the comment section, said that their daughter's friend was killed in that attack. That's horrible. That is absolutely horrific. I am so sorry to hear that. I don't even want to think about that. I can't even imagine what that would be like. That's beyond terrible. So let's find out who the real bad guys are. And oftentimes, when there is a staged event, it will start out as a false flag. It'll start out as a crisis actor event. And then those events, oftentimes, those exercises turn into live drills. They turn into not drills anymore, they turn into live events. That's what's happened many times in the past. So it will start off as a exercise and then turn into the real deal. That way they've got all their players and everybody put into place, and then boom, drop the gauntlet. Oh, yep, it's live, it's real, it happened. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to take all that anger of attacking people that are questioning the status quo, take that energy and use it to find the truth? Or does it just make you feel, I guess it's like therapy for people. I get it. You're pissed off, you're furious, rightfully so. Somebody questions the status quo, and so you're going to lash out at them. I get it. I forgive you. I'm over it. This goes with the job. I will tell you this, though, for those out there that are attacking me personally, I want the truth. I want justice. And I want to know what really happened out there. So if you want to hate me for that, if you want to attack me for that, go right ahead. Water off a duck's back. You know what will be nice is when the real culprit comes out, when you find the truth, then you'll realize people like me, like others that listen to Leak Project, we're here to help. We're here to find the truth and to present it to the masses if they want it. It's like taking, it's like taking somebody to a stream. Man, I'm real thirsty. I'm so thirsty. I haven't drank in hours. I've been hiking. I'm so thirsty. You take him to this nice stream, this pristine stream, and water's flowing. It's flowing through like a 4,000-foot underwater aquifer. It's just bubbling and crystal clear and beautiful. And you take them to that water, and they're like,
what is it? I've never seen that before. That doesn't have a bottle over it that says that's honey. I can't drink that. That's not water.
It's water. It's pure. It's right there. You've even got a water filter you can put it in if you don't trust it.
I don't trust that. Can't be water.
It's water. So, first of all, let me make this very clear. Again, because obviously I haven't done it enough times in those previous podcasts. Or I just don't think they watched the podcast. I think they read the title and then flipped out for some reason. That's what a lot of people do. They'll read a title, then they'll come up with the answer to the podcast already because of the title, and then they'll come up with their own response. Anybody that was injured or lost their life, or anybody that knows somebody that was injured or lost their life in that event in Manchester during the Adriana Grande concert, my condolences. I feel very bad for you and your family. Now, with that said, let's find out who the real bad guys are and then hope this doesn't happen again. Because the more knowledge we have, the better off we're going to be to defend ourselves. Knowledge is power. Be aware. Question everything. And be the change you want to see.